What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here. Delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. And head down to that link in the description below. You can sign up for my newsletter. I need to make like one of those like fancy GIF things, not GIFs, just like lead-in intros where it actually like shows somebody going to the newsletter with the mouse click or whatever and going like this and going like this and then going JDA, all the good emails at email.com and subscribe, something like that. And then I'll have like a fancy professional YouTube and it'd be very exciting. Sorry. We're not a professional YouTube over here. We are professional writers over here. And so you can go and actually get all of these books for free for signing up for my newsletter. Enjoy yourself and enjoy your time with me. So I hope you'll do that. Check out the good work. Anyway, today we are talking about science fiction. And as the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction, a #1 bestseller in science fiction, I've had the #3 overall book on Amazon in science fiction. I've had an award for my science fiction work. I've been nominated for multiple awards for my science fiction work. I don't know that I'd call myself a grandmaster. But at the end of the day, now you're looking at who's getting named grandmasters. They seem to have less of a track record in the genre than I do. So I'm going to go over this whole Grandmaster Award, what it is, what it used to be, and why the sort of SJW takeover of every entertainment industry has led to everything being completely meaningless at this point. And that's actually the goal. The goal of communism is to replace actual art, to replace actual good works in culture with meaninglessness and everything being subjective. That way it's easier to control what people consume. And that's one of the stated goals of the Communist Party manifesto back from the 1960s. I highly recommend going and looking at that and seeing that. And why am I mentioning communists? Well, Damon Knight was a communist. He and his group actually got kicked out of Worldcon in 1939 because they were passing around these pamphlets with subversive communist propaganda and really just disrupting the convention and disrupting everything. And their goal was to disrupt everything in the name of their political agenda. And that's exactly what SIF was doing now. This award a long time ago was actually meant to give something for folk later in life, people who have really long, illustrious careers, dozens of books that are amazing, and to sort of give them a sort of author emeritus, as it says here. Quote, as a way to recognize and appreciate senior writers and genres of science fiction fantasy who have made significant contributions to our field, but are no longer active or whose excellent work may no longer be widely known as it once was. Sort of the case. I mean, Heinlein in 75 certainly was still publishing a lot of his great works. So, not as good as before, but that's another video. But it's very rare that somebody who really hasn't like gone forward and really changed the field ever got any sort of award. I mean, you see the great names here: Heinlein, Jack Williamson, Clifford Simak, Sprague de Camp. I mean, Fritz Leiber. These are people you should go through and actually go and note the history of their works in the field. Andre Norton, amazing. Arthur C. Clarke, Isaac Asimov, Alfred Bester, Ray Bradbury, Lester Del Rey. I mean, these are Frederick Pohl, Damon Knight. Even though he's a commie, I can't say that he didn't have a great impact on the field. Also, just with some of his works that he did, he really did. A.E. Van Vogt, Jack Vance, Paul Anderson, who's the favorite of people around here. I mean, you just go down the list and you're like, these are greats. If you want to study science fiction, you really want to go through it, you can pretty much use this list for the most part. It gets a little iffier up here. I mean, Connie Willis, I don't know. I mean, I don't like her work, but I guess I can't really fault, that. I mean, she's done a ton of work in the field and done a lot of big work in the field. So most of these are pretty good. Jane Yolen, not sure. This is where it starts to get iffy. And then Bujold's amazing. So that's it. But 2021, you see a change that one of these things is not like the others. And you're like, who is Nalo Hopkinson? I mean, we know who William Gibson is. Neuromancer's it. C.J. Chera is a heavyweight in the genre for sure. Larry Niven, heavyweight in the genre. Samuel Delaney. I mean, I don't like the guy or his works, but at least he's got a lot of works out there. Gene Wolfe, definitely a heavyweight in the genre. All these are some big. Peter Beagle, yeah, heavyweight in the genre. And then Nalo Hopkinson, who? And that's exactly what you find here. And you'll notice there's been a change in SFWA in the last year. They actually changed their guidelines so that if you're a Black author, you don't actually have to meet the requirements that other authors have to get into the club. One, and you don't have to pay a fee while everybody else has to pay a fee and give you basically your affirmative action pay, because apparently Black people cannot pay dues like other people can because they're somehow disadvantaged, according to SFWA. It's really insulting stuff. It's rude. It's rude to Black people, saying that they are just not competent enough compared to others to have to be held to the same standards as others. And it's, of course, racist to every other race out there who are forced to jump through hoops that another race does not have to. But once they made that determination, they started going down a rabbit hole where they wanted to just judge things solely based on the color of their skin and not based on the content of their character. The opposite of Dr. Martin Luther King's dream, as you might remember that speech. And so I'm sure they really wanted to give their award to M.K. Jemison, as I mentioned on the blog this morning, but they went for Nalo Hopkinson instead. And who is this? Let's go look. Well, Jamaican-born Canadian speculative fiction writer and editor, not even sci-fi, it's speculative fiction. There's a couple things that are sci-fi in her catalog, but we'll go over that in a sec. Her novels and short stories often draw on Caribbean history and language. So it's just about a cultural sort of thing of non-American to try to highlight that, right? All right. So let's go down to the works. And then you look, and there's not a very long list here. You've got 6 novels. You've got 6 collections of short fictions, right, and short stories, and a few handful of short stories here. And then she actually was given a couple of comic books in Neil Gaiman's Sandman universe, but not many. If you go through her list, you might be, if you're a fan of the channel, you might look at this and go, she's really got about half, maybe less, of the published works of John De La Rose, the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction. If that's the case, and she's been in the industry for decades, how come that's there when John De La Rose has only been in the industry for 3 years? It seems like she just really hasn't done all that much. But then you get into her books, Brown Girl in the Ring, right? Skin Folk. And all this stuff is just about skin color. She's obsessed with skin color. And that is why she is in SFWA, because they're obsessed with skin color. And that's why they nominated her, because they can, as white women, who mostly are the people who are voting on this, give themselves golf claps for telling themselves they're so woke. They're giving somebody a grandmaster status when they really haven't done all that much. Moreover, if you look her up on Amazon, and I'll do this right now for y'all, this is her most reviewed book, Brown Girl in the Ring. Oh, geez, there's too many. There it is. All right. She's 192 ratings or reviews. Now, that's hard to get to. Any author can tell you that, but that is the most that she's got. Now, if you look at the most that I've got, it's for Steam and Country, I've got 231. So that means my most read book, which is only 3 years old, is more read than her most read book, which is 30 years old, which means I've got a bigger impact on the genre just in readership wise than she does. So again, we're getting back to like Grandmaster here. And what does Grandmaster mean? It used to have sort of an objective standpoint to it. It used to mean that you had an illustrious career and you've really had a big impact on the genre. You've really done something amazing with your works. And now it's an affirmative action award to try to, quote, highlight minority authors. And that's all it is. If you are the woke, you're going to get chosen. If you're not the woke, you're not. there's plenty of other authors you could put on here who have much bigger careers and much bigger of an impact on science fiction than Nalo Hopkinson does. I mean, Jerry Pournelle, who just passed a couple years ago, is definitely a big one right there. Orson Scott Card, and they'll never nominate Orson Scott Card, I can tell you that. John C. Wright, who I'm going to have on the channel later tonight, if you're watching this on Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020. Lots of people have had bigger impacts on the genre, but no, not according to SFWA. And that's what we're going to have. And so all these awards and all these little accolades and all these little credentials are going this route. They're giving themselves credentials in order to prop themselves up as experts and say they're better than everybody else because of, and then they can go around to everybody else and say, hey, you need to pay attention more to the color of people's skin and the way and who's having sex with who and things like that, as in lieu of actually paying attention to what are great works that stand the test of time. And that's the sad part. So once they get the credentials, they'll use those credentials to go to the media. The media will then hype them up, etc. It's a self-perpetuating cycle. And this is basically an idea to try to market people who are unmarketable because they have books that just don't really stand up compared to the real grandmasters. So I don't know. Grandmaster now means nothing. And somebody on Twitter gave me the title Grander Master. So I'm now calling myself the Grander Master of science fiction, because if this is all it takes to be a Grandmaster, I've certainly accomplished more than that in the field. And, you know, I might as well congratulate myself since these people are congratulating themselves. What do you think, guys? Leave a comment down below, hit that like and subscribe button. And before you leave, go to my holiday bookstore extravaganza. I've got all of my books here. So if you want to check out my science fiction books, I'll sign them for you. They're right here. Sci-fi novels. I've got a bunch of them in here. You can get any of them. I've got my Justified series, my Stars Entwined series. I'm writing the third book of this right now. My short fiction collection, Make Science Fiction Fun Again. Seems like a better idea to make science fiction fun again than to make it about like boring skin color stuff. An old book, Star Realms Rescue Run, which is out of print right now. And I've got all my comics too. Cosmic Warrior, some great sci-fi right here. This is in the classic vein of Edgar Rice Burroughs. Clockwork Dancer, this is a wonderful steampunk thing. All this stuff for you to check out. And I've got this link down in the description below. Digital stuff I'll fulfill right away. And of course, other stuff too, I just got to ship it out to you. Get great books today, support great science fiction, and the Grander Master of science fiction, me. See you guys.